Hey friends, welcome into another edition of 4 Minutes on Friday. I want to talk today about the dangerous combination of arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, of course, is the exaggerated or elevated sense of self, the things that we already know or can accomplish. And ignorance is the lack of knowledge or information. Ignorance in and of itself is not a bad thing, but the unawareness to acknowledge that I don't know some things is where ignorance really becomes dangerous. And these two together, ignorance and arrogance, really become dangerous in our culture for a lot of reasons. But it is within this combination, I think, this is strictly my opinion, there's no data to back this up, but this is strictly my opinion. The combination of arrogance and ignorance in our culture is where the perpetuation of a cultural idea really gains a lot of steam. Because what happens is so many times we end up finding a group of people that think like us and act like us and seem a lot like us. And my gosh, they hold an opinion that is very similar to mine. So we end up gravitating towards those opinions and those ideas because the things that we already know, the biases that we already have, the understandings that we already hold, they're not challenged in that group at all. And so our ideas of the culture that we are surrounded by just continue to gain steam. There's more momentum behind it because look at all these people that I have around me. They all think like me. They all act like me. They're just like me. How can they also be wrong? And what happens is so this becomes an echo chamber of our already held beliefs. And that is extraordinarily dangerous because within the echo chamber, like I mentioned just a moment ago, our beliefs and understandings are not challenged. And I'm a firm believer that if we are going to find truth, if we're going to find justice, if we're going to find the right way through things, we have to be open to having our beliefs and already held opinions. Those have to be willing by us to be challenged, to be kind of taken to task. This is extraordinarily hard because our culture does not make a lot of room for this. Right now, the culture that we live in is very simply stated. You are either entirely with me and you agree with everything that I say, or you are entirely against me. Even if there are minor disagreements, if there are minor things. So this opinion here is what I hold. And if you don't agree entirely with this opinion, then you're against me. There isn't any space for discussion. There isn't any space for conjecture. There isn't any space to have your mind and heart challenged a little bit. And that is extremely dangerous. When that is the case, when there isn't any room for discussion or conjecture, that is the combination of arrogance and ignorance exactly. Because it says, I don't need you to teach me anything. I know all that I need to know about issue X, Y, and Z. I don't need to know anything else. So if you come in with a different opinion or a different approach or a different idea about issue X, Y, and Z, I'm not interested because I already know all I need to know about that thing. Extraordinarily dangerous. Because not only is that arrogance that says you don't need to teach me anything, you are now completely blind to the knowledge or information that you might need in order to even have a conversation. I'm not even talking about having your mind or heart changed about something. You can't even have the conversation. Now, you go ahead and stop me if that sounds familiar and what we've been dealing with the last 18 months to 2 years. We need to be better at having conversations with people that don't agree with us, that don't think like us, that are different than us, that they come at issues that we kind of have already decided in our mind, this is how this thing works. We need to get away from that mindset and be willing to talk with those that are different than us, that think and operate differently than us. All right, we're over our time as usual. See you next week.